Rodriguez, the Jagger wants it back. He gets it back and leads it through for Holtby. Oh, it's off the line. It's off the line.
So, George, I think after that game at Old Trafford, 6-2 loss against United, let's delve into what's happening at Leeds. Obviously, they have played some fantastic football and very attacking. Bielsa is very stubborn and not changing his tactics, which some might say is brilliant to watch and to see. It's very refreshing, and others would be like they should be a bit more adapting to the league itself. So, what are your thoughts on that, George? How do you like Leeds so far in the league?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. The first thing that you probably have to say is you gotta respect them for their courage. Like they will go out there with the same game plan. They will man mark you, and they will play extremely attacking football. And yeah, I guess it shows for it because they have conceded the most goals, I think, in the Premier League. Um,
Yep.
so it's a bit weird. Even when you're down 3-0, you don't stop. You're down 3-1, then it becomes 4-1. You still don't stop. And make it 4-2. I don't know. Like it's difficult because it's on one hand it's very refreshing the football that they play. It's something that nobody else in the league plays, but on the other hand it's about results, and if they're not getting results, then what's the point? I guess, I mean, you can put on a show for everyone, but then if you get hammered every other week by all these big teams, 6-2, 3-1, 4-3, which was, I think, a little bit flattering for Leeds, that Liverpool scoreline. And who else have they played? Have they played Spurs and Leicester? No, I don't think so.
Um, I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess the only highlight from their games and their results against the top six is probably the City game. But then I take that more to be Pep over overestimating and just doing what Pep does in these games that he thinks are going to be really difficult, and he tries to overthink things. So in retrospect, maybe when they come to the Etihad, it probably wouldn't be the same scoreline, and Pep will just decimate them because the way that they play, it just suits teams that they themselves are incredibly attacking. So you've got teams like Liverpool and City who thrive on people. They love it when people come out of their shell and they try and commit bodies forward, because the speeds at which these guys, including United as well, can hit them on the break or in transition is ridiculous. And if you have players that are good dribblers in your team, then the second you beat someone, uh, there is so much space, because in a man marking system, when after you beat someone, there's so much space that's left behind. It just opens up so many possibilities. So yeah, with regards to my thoughts, it's a little bit of mixed bag, I think.
Okay, yeah, definitely, and I agree with you on most parts of that. And more than anything, I think when Leeds goes up against Spurs, that's going to be probably a wake-up call because Spurs, you know what they do. They love to watch that team attack, and if Leeds are going to hit them so hard like they did um, after United scored even 3 goals, um, Son and Kane are just going to tear them apart. They could probably beat them even further than 6 goals. And for me, and in my opinion, and this is going to be uh, controversial in the sense that so many people give Leeds uh, credit and the benefit of the doubt that they are playing such attacking, free-flowing football all the time. But at a point, it becomes about results, like you said. And what's the point if they're just going to play really free-flowing football and you're going to go back down the next season? They have only won 4 games this season and they've conceded 30 goals already. Uh, I don't think that should be applauded as much as it has been. And Bielsa, being the respected manager that he is, he hasn't really won anything or done anything that significant, in my opinion, again. So I'm not sure where this love for Leeds is coming from, as much as it is. the pundits, the fans, even the press, they give them a lot of credit for showing bravery. But bravery can only take you so far. Uh, in a football league, it's not going to sustain. I think maybe even in knockout football, this would be super dangerous to play. And it would be really interesting when the FA Cup starts, how they're going to manage with that in the latter rounds. So yeah, it's a weird one that leads. Not
Yeah,
too sure about it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So one of the things that Gary Neville commented was about how they play. No, nobody plays man marking football in the league, and the reason is this. This is the exact reason why nobody uses this tactic. And um, when top teams train, they usually train with man marking for very small games like five-a-side or four-a-sides, etc. But it is for a specific purpose. It's not your overall philosophy. So I guess you got to respect the man for coming with a different approach to the game. But whether it's the right approach and does it work in the modern game, probably not. I think when you have teams that love it when you commit so many bodies forward and have such talent on transition, that it doesn't really, it's not too effective.
Exactly. And what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a change from Bielsa after seeing that result at Old Trafford? 6-2 is not a joke. Like they lost 4-1 against Crystal Palace, and they kept playing the same type of football. So, are we going to see any sort of difference in the next game? Are they
Pro-
going to, be a little bit more conservative, perhaps?
Probably not. I think they're just gonna go at it guns blazing. Like you said, he's pretty stubborn, and so Bielsa doesn't last too long in the sense that he might be at the club, but a lot of players buy out of his system and they don't really enjoy it anymore. And one of them is results, and the second one is the intensity of training. So
Mhm.
if he keeps us up, he might stay in the league, but I don't see him retaining too many players. I can see in the long run players not buying into the system and just saying, screw it, I just want to play a more relaxed type of football in terms of my effort during training. So that is something that we could probably see in the future. But I do expect them to stay up though, regardless. I think
Yeah,
they have enough capabilities to win games, and they and against teams that don't have too much attacking prowess, they should win those games, and those are the games that you need to stay up. I think you just need to win roughly around 10, 11 odd games a season to stay up. Is that a right stat? Let's see.
yeah. So while you're checking on that, I would like to say, yeah, okay. So first season back in the Premier League, and they stay. That's expected from. I'm sure that's all Lead fans and everyone is expecting them to stay. That's absolutely fine, and it will probably happen. However, over time, and let's say he does retain his team and he does get the players that he wants as well. I'm sure like when better quality is added to that side in the midfield and at the back, we are going to see you know maybe they won't leak as much as goals. However, they still have to play Big Six teams, and certain teams like Crystal Palace can catch them out on those one-off days where they would lose those games. So in the long run as well, I don't think that this kind of system is sustainable in the sense that they might not move further up the ladder. You know what I mean?
All right,
You might just be staying in that
there's no progression.
middle. Yeah, there won't be any progression of this side. Uh, so maybe that's when like another manager would have to come in and then transitioning over to a different type of football for these players. Yeah, that's so many years down the line, probably. However, I think it's something that needs to be spoken about.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, if you're just gonna, if there's no, I mean, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and again, and it's not giving you the results that you want or need and demand, then what's the point in doing it? So, yeah, it's I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. I guess for neutral fans, it's okay. We
Definitely.
just it's just a piece of entertainment. It's a game to look forward to always, every game week. But I think for Leeds fans, they probably will get tired of this in soon.
In due course, yeah. If they do go down at some point, like over the next few seasons, then definitely, yeah, you would see that. And the only reason we're talking about this actually is, I'm sure most people would say that you're out of your mind, like Bielsa and that Leeds side is too good to get relegated. However, there's been a lot of teams like who try to uh, stamp more authority on the league when they do come up. Like we saw Fulham uh, a couple of seasons ago. They spent a lot of money. They changed the team all around. It didn't work, but that's a different type of asserting yourself, isn't it? But Norwich as well. Norwich did play really good football, and they had brilliant people on the top side of the pitch. However, the defense let them down again. And what happened? They got relegated. So, and I think more than relegation, Leeds fans should be afraid of is stagnation of being in that mid tier in the Premier League. I think we see so many teams take so many years to start even transitioning, and it's not going to be. I don't think the fans are going to be so lenient on Bielsa when those times come.
Yeah, true, true. And I also feel that, especially during the United game, oh, sorry, for the United game, that there was no hint of rivalry. And I guess it's just that Leeds have been out of the league for so long that both players, both sets of players, United players and Leeds players, just forgot what it means, what that United Leeds derby means. Probably Calvin Phillips can relate because he's from Leeds, and Solskjaer could probably relate because he's played against Leeds. But those are probably the only two people in that whole stadium, or maybe that's not true, maybe the backroom stuff, but who are playing, who are actively participating in the
I
game.
think the yeah, I see
Yeah,
where you're coming from. I think it was 17 years the last time they played in the Premier League. Like
yeah. And
they played
yeah,
that
the
derby.
media will hype it up as, I think it's called the Roses Derby. But yeah, it's just the media.
It
I
didn't
don't
have the
think
derby feel in that sense, right?
there's no derby feel, and I feel if there was a derby feel, then you probably wouldn't see this kind of a response. For Bielsa, it's nothing. It's just another team, right? But
Yeah,
if there was a sense of shit, this is a derby, this is against United, we need a result. A result is more important than how I play football, which is how most managers and teams go up when they go against a derby. Because all Manchester derbies, Merseyside derbies, North London derbies, they're heavily contested. And it's not about saying that, hey, this is how I play and this is how I'm gonna play, but more of we need a result. And I feel that was lacking. And it wasn't I've never seen one of these United Leeds derbies, but I'm
same.
sure that it, no Leeds team would have ever come to Old Trafford and put this kind of a performance in the sense of such a stubborn performance, let's say.
I completely agree with you. And there wasn't that crunch in the game in that sense. Those Leeds games from videos and things that ex players have talked about. It used to be a very physical and almost a battle. Leeds were, if anything, like the second biggest rivals that United had at the time after Liverpool. I would say City weren't considered. They were just known as the noisy neighbors, which got too loud in the end. Uh, but the Leeds United games used to be, a very feisty affair. You could say like the scoreline in the end for United became a big fu to the Leeds team, and I feel like there would be some players in the United team that knew about it. The academy boys for sure, like Scott McTominay, perhaps. Like he looked fired up for that game, and he was unanimously the man of the match. 2 goals and sensation, like a really good performance in midfield. So yeah, I guess like the United boys just wanted it a bit more, more than that, like Leeds played right into United's hands. The midfield was very open, and Calvin Phillips, like we have spoken about Calvin Phillips previously, haven't we? And we've always given him credit for the job that he does. He was found, on stretched out on most parts of the pitch, and that made the game very easy. Ultimately, got taken off right after halftime, if I'm not wrong. So, like, I think the main point that I am, and I think you're agreeing with me, is that this isn't going to last too long in my eyes. I don't think it can
Yeah,
fully.
yeah, it's probably not sustainable. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think yeah,
and another thing that irks me, and I guess if we had Vishnu with us to talk about this, is the amount of credit that Bielsa gets isn't as warranted as it should seem. Uh, I might sound like I just don't like the guy because he's managing Leeds, but like if you just look at his honors and stuff, he's just won an Olympic medal, and that was in '03, '04. So there is a big legendary aspect to the guy, and yeah, but there isn't much to show for it except this team
yeah, that's true. I think it's just I, I guess it's the inspiration that he gives to other managers, and a lot of people have learned from him that he's regarded so highly. But it's kind of ironic here that you have people like Pep who have studied him and taken so much inspiration from him in his style of play, but have but he can't emulate the same kind of success like Pep has. So I get what you're saying. There's a lot of unwarranted hype, but I guess it's just down to respect more than anything else.
now. Fair enough. Yeah, the respect factor, I'm sure, does play a part in it. And I'm not saying that he doesn't warrant the respect that he gets. No way saying that, and I don't think I'm in a place to say that as well. But other managers get shit for way less than losing 6-2, losing 4-1 twice against Crystal Palace and Leicester. So it's just it's just strange, and it's nice to see how the media and pundits and everyone are dealing with this kind of thing. We haven't seen that before. I feel like a lot of other managers would start having pressure put on them at this point. Uh, yeah, so I guess that could be the reason why.
Yeah, as in he doesn't really stay too long at clubs, and I think this is a reason that I mean, like he's just there for like average 1.6 years. So it's it's really strange. So he's not like one of these legacy guys like Arsene Wenger and Saf. He's just a guy who has a really strange way of playing football that's incredibly exciting and inspired a lot of managers to be successful. I guess that's a very crude way of putting it, but that, that's
He's
about
probably like like how a training academy for managers go. He has paved the path for so many of them,
true.
and maybe he's happy seeing their success. Maybe that's how he fulfills his desire for success.
Yeah,
You know
true.
what I mean? I guess that's a very arrogant way of putting it as well. On that note, George, I think we have touched upon like a lot of aspects of Leeds for today, and let's call it a wrap. Do you have any final thoughts about this team, and give us a prediction on where you think they're going to end up this season?
Probably less than 10th, greater than 15th, I
Okay, so exactly where they are right now at 14.
think. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, but yeah, I guess
Okay, then.
somewhere around that mark. Yeah,
Yeah, that I would put them around there. Safe from relegation for sure. However, struggling to maybe make it to the top half of the team. There's too much quality in that top half at this moment. After the top six as well, Wolves look dangerous every time they play. West Ham and Everton having really great seasons, and Southampton as well.
Yeah, same.
So
Playing really great.
it's gonna be difficult for Leeds and Arsenal to make it up the top of the stage. I just had to put that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
on that note, yeah, let's. I think we should call it for this time. We'll
Cool.
be doing more of these single club analysis, I would say, and join us for the next one. You've been listening to the Off the Line podcast with Caleb and George, and have a great Christmas and a New Year's, and we'll catch you next time.